What cheer, y'all? Welcome back to Right at the Wire. Well, this is Whitney weekend, and they've got a late pick five with four Grade One stakes races. So I thought we ought to take a look at it, and we're going to start with leg one of the sequence, which comprises seven races, 7 through 11. It's nice of them not to include the last two races, and there is a mandatory payout on it as well. The first race is obviously not a stakes race. It's the seventh. It's an optional claimer for 75,000 non-winners of two lifetime, 7 furlongs for 3-year-olds and up. What a way to start a sequence! Look at this, 14 horses, and this is another. Saratoga is infamous for these type of races. I mean, it's pick'em. I'll be very, very honest with you. I looked at this field, and there's so much sameness to it. So really, what I'm looking for here is I'm looking for prices and I'm looking for form. And Awesome Ruda is a horse you may remember from the Derby Trail for a little while, but this one seems to be coming into his own. And I think cutting back to 7 furlongs might be a good fit here. And at 15 to 1, you're getting a nice price. He's parked right about in the middle, and that should be fine. The 7 furlongs, it's coming out of a chute, so a lot of times those horses to the extreme inside can get pinched a little bit unless they hustle. So a lot of times the middle pack horses can get a nice settled trip where they don't have to work too hard like the ones on the outside and the inside. To me, Classic Legacy is the one that is in the best form right now, and I think is ready to run another good race. And at 15 to 1, I think you're getting a really good price. To give you an idea, I mean, Credit Worthy is the favorite. Chad Brown, Claravich Stables, Flavian Pratt, all that, But honestly, look at the horse. He ran 3 races on turf, and the one dirt effort was off the turf in the slop, and ran a career high figure. But you never want to judge a horse based upon a race that comes off the turf. Why? Well, any of the good turf runners, most of them don't run on dirt, and they get scratched out. So what you're left with is, turf horses who are running on dirt who don't really like it. And so any horse with a little bit of dirt form is going to win it impressively. Okay, well, there you go. But that's not something you want to judge a horse on. Parked out in the 11 hole, I think there's a lot saltier, more seasoned horses that I would prefer, but Credit Worthy is progressing seemingly, so it's enough to at least use. But I think this is a favorite to try to beat. Jefferson Street is kind of a mercurial horse for Bill Mott. Has run some really big races and then run some not very good races after that. It's clear that there's a ceiling as far as class goes for this one, and that graded stakes probably aren't where this one wants to go. But this isn't a graded stakes. This is a good race for this horse, and he's coming off a layoff. And Bill Mott generally likes these optional claimers as a preview before they do run in a stakes race. Maybe he's retooled with this horse. I mean, Bill Mott's a master trainer, and this one certainly has shown ability. Maybe with an extra year, a little retooling, and this is maybe a warm-up for another attempt at stakes races. I would guess that maybe is the case. But still, this horse is good enough. Maybe not tuned up all the way. If Jefferson Street runs one of his best races, he's going to win this by open lengths. It's just the question of can he do it? And I would say probably not. But he can be competitive in here for sure. And under the right circumstances, if he has progressed since last year, maybe he can win this. So I think he's definitely a horse you want to use. Got to throw Hold My Bourbon in there as a closer. Seems to be moving in the right direction. And with this kind of field, I don't know if the pace scenario will necessarily be there, but a late runner in this type of field is probably a pretty good bet. So we'll throw in Hold My Bourbon as well. This is absolutely a spread race. I'm quite certain we're going to get a price home in this one, and hopefully we'll have the right one. But it is a toss-up. to start at the Whitney pick 5. So let's move on to the next race. Second leg of the Whitney pick 5 is the Fourstardave, a perennial favorite at Saratoga. It's a grade 1, 8th race on the card, running a mile on the inner turf for 4-year-olds and up. And this is a really nice field. They're even got Johannes coming in from the West Coast. This is it's just a really good field. You've got a pretty traditional turf race shape. You've got your lone speed in deterministic, and you've got your pace pressers, My Boy Prince, Think Big, Win for the Money and Neat. And then you've got your mid-pack, Johannes, Spirit of St. Louis, more prominent, and Intellect, your lone closer. So it's a really good field. I'm going with deterministic, and the main reason is this horse is just going great guns from Miguel Clement. He just is in really good form. They have really unlocked something with putting him on the lead, and his last 2 starts have been absolutely stellar. So I'm going to give it to him that he can do it again. That's really the main thing more than anything else. My Boy Prince from Mark Casse is interesting in that the name of the jockey escapes me right now, but he left a more prominent horse to take My Boy Prince, and I thought that was rather interesting. And this is a really versatile horse. He's around 1 or 2 turns. He's been most recently running in sprints, but he's more than capable at a mile. I'm from Canada. He was a really solid horse. Damn near won the King's Plate, and I think they've got him in good form. Mark Casse, has been doing very well at Saratoga the last couple years. And at 15-1, you're getting a really good price in what I think is a pretty tough field. So we'll throw My Boy Prince in there. Think Big, I kind of went back and forth with. Actually, the jockey who's on Think Big is running on My Boy Prince. I'm sorry. I still can't think of his name, though. But, excuse me, Think Big surprised me in his last race, stretching out to 2 turns. Displayed a really nice kick in the stretch, but it was a little aided by the rail. He did have kind of a dream trip there. Not to say that he can't follow it up. This is a really nice horse. In turf sprints, he's been very good. I don't know. I kind of went back and forth with him. If you want to use him, I can understand it. I'm just trying to go for a little bit more value. Maybe some horses with a little bit more 2-turn experience. I mean, sometimes, any horse can go around 2 turns one time if they're a sprinter, but whether they can consistently do it or not, that remains to be seen. I have no knock on Think Big, but I just want to get a little bit more value in there with My Boy Prince, let's say. Johannes, there's no knock on him. I mean, he's an outstanding miler. Really the only thing is can he do it on the East Coast? That's it. The competition's going to be a little stiffer. We'll see how he handles it. He was pretty good in the Breeders' Cup, but do recall that was at Del Mar. I think this would be a big test for him, but he certainly is capable of winning this race, and I would put him as probably the strong second choice to deterministic in here. Spirit of St. Louis for Chad Brown. He's kind of the excuse me. He's kind of the there's always a couple Chad Browns in a turf race at Saratoga, but he is the Chad Brown in my opinion. This horse has, since moving from the state bred ranks, has really been impressive. He really hasn't done anything wrong. This is his ideal distance, and I think in order to take this one down, he probably has to step it up a little bit to get by deterministic in the form that he's in, or Johannes. But this is a really solid performer, and all systems go. Chad Brown, Saratoga, and at his ideal distance. So Spirit of St. Louis, I think, is really logical to use, and you get a square price at 6-1. Intellect to me is He is the lone closer in this race, and there is a fair amount of speed in here, so it is possible that it might be a little quick. I don't think it will, but it could be, and that would certainly leave things uh, i- possible for intellect. But I tell you, I don't. He seems like more than he's had more than one chance to win races, and he just hasn't. And that's kind of the thing that bothers me a little bit about intellect. I just, wonder if he can get over the top. And when I have that kind of feeling about horses like that, I'm really reticent to get them in the mix. But I could think he can get underneath for sure at 5-1. So while Johannes certainly would make a lot of sense here, if you want to go that way, I'm going to go with deterministic in the Fourstardave, but we'll probably add Spirit of St. Louis in there as well. Third leg of the Whitney Pick 5 is the Saratoga Derby Invitational. It's a Grade 1, ninth race on the card, running a mile and 3/8 on the turf for the 3-year-olds. And it's very interesting. This race is very reminiscent of the Belmont Derby, within which many of these horses ran. There is just not a lot of pace in this race at all. And you've got a glut of later runners, much like he did in the Belmont Derby. So it's interesting from that perspective. We've also got some invaders from overseas that spice things up a bit. Hot as Hell is the morning line 7-5 favorite, and I think that's based upon back class. He's certainly been running against the cream of the crop, including Field of Gold, uh, and what the more so than that, I think the appeal to me more than anything else is the fact that this horse does like to run up amongst the leaders and up near it, so he could find himself on the lead by default. And you have to love the fact that this regular jockey came over, and it just all looks like they mean business. And so we'll take Hot as Hell, particularly with the race shape being so favorable to win the Saratoga Derby Invitational. But we've got a couple others we want to talk about. Capitol Hill for Bill Mott. I want to thank publicly Kaylee Shapiro, who this is a horse I used in behind Zulu Kingdom. I believe it was in the Manila, I think it was, or not the Manila, but anyway, it was a turf race, and it was behind Zulu Kingdom. And I didn't see much on paper, but she was very high on this horse. And Kaylee, if you don't know, she works for Naira Betts, and she's got an excellent eye for horseflesh. And she's a very good visual handicapper, so I want to thank her for that. And no surprise for Bill Mott, this horse ran a premium race, ran much better than he had prior, and looks to be on the trajectory of moving forward. I'm a little uncertain about the distance. He has run at a mile and 3/16, but being by Into Mischief, maybe it's a tad too far. I'm not overly certain, but I don't think he'd be in the race unless Bill Mott was confident he could run. So we're going to throw Capitol Hill in there at a 15-1 price as a horse who's on his way up. Will definitely have to run his best race to date, but he could very well do it. Test Score was the beneficiary in the Belmont Derby last time, as the horse who was going to be closest to whoever took the lead, and that's exactly what happened. And really benefited by the race shape, and you've got a very similar shape here. This is a horse who has fooled me, but I won't be fooled again. This horse is the real thing, likes to win, and I think, again, has a pretty good scenario. And just has to be off of Hot as Hell. And if for some reason he falters, Test Score is going to be right there. So I definitely want to use Test Score in this spot. Final Gambit, I'm throwing in, and almost by default, I did not like him in the Belmont Derby based upon the scenario, the race shape, and you got the same thing here. But it's kind of one of those things. I look at this horse and I go, he just can't be that bad. And his last couple of starts really have been disappointing, whether it be on dirt or turf. And I just think he's better than that. And maybe it's just reacclimating himself. He certainly would would prefer to have some more pace to run to, but I just think there's too much talent here not to at least include underneath. But I don't think it's again. I don't think it's a race shape that's favorable to him. World beater for Riley Mott. I really liked this horse in the Manila last time, and got a good second. And I think this is a horse headed in the right direction. We're hoping for the chip off the old block scenario. Riley Mott has been doing pretty well as a young trainer, and it's just a matter of getting better stock, which I'm sure he will. And World Beater looks like a pretty good one. And again, coming from off the pace, it will be difficult. But if you consider that, in the Manila, he was able to do it at a shorter distance, I mean, maybe he can put it together here. But I think he's another one who's headed in the right direction, and at 10-1, you're getting a good price. But we're going to go with Hot as Hell, which in the Saratoga Derby. But I don't think it's a lock by any means. I think this is a really interesting race, and I will point out a couple of the other invaders. I watched Juwelier, I believe, or Juwelier. That's the name of the number 2 horse. This one ran in the JRA Derby trial in Germany, and I didn't like the race at all. He had a horse who got on the lead. It was like 10, 15 lengths in front of the field, and still held on for second. And Juwelier couldn't get past him. And that kind of soured me on this horse. And that, and aside from dubious quality, I would pass on. Tiberius Thunder, I also watched run. And, excuse me, lost to Trinity College at Royal Ascot in the Hampton Court. And those are usually pretty deep fields. But we ran kind of a dull fourth. And I just had every chance to win that race and was all out in the stretch and just wasn't good enough. And that was kind of the thing that soured me. And so I'm going to throw out Tiberius Thunder for those of you who were interested in the shippers. So anyway, to recap to summarize, sorry, long day, we're going to go with Hot as Hell in the Saratoga Derby. But test score should not be overlooked, and World Beater's got an outside chance. Fourth leg of the Whitney Pick 5 is the Test, a Grade 1 10th race on the card, run at 7 furlongs for the 3-year-old fillies. And generally, this is always a really good race. Pretty good field, I would say. It's intriguing to me. And, 7 furlongs being the unique distance, of course, we always want to find horses who have been successful at it. Some sprinters can't handle it, and they would be better at 6. So it's definitely something that you want to look to. Me and Molly McGee will likely be the speed of the speed. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And she has really been setting some wicked fractions. She only knows one way to go. And the Churchill Downs shippers, the word is out. They do very well when they come up to the Spa. I don't know that she's got enough to take them all the way, but she's going to be lickety-split out of the gate without a doubt. And I think that does impact the race, particularly for Echo Sound, who will likely be just off her throat latch and maybe softens her up a little bit. I'm certainly hoping for it because I'm going to pick Ragtime. First of all, that's a great name. Absolutely love the name. Union Rag's not known for sprinters, but this one has clearly been on the upward swing in her first 2 starts. The last one, I really liked what I saw. Drew off with ease, and it's Bill Mott on Whitney Day. It's really hard to go against him. 4-1 is a very square price. Will absolutely have pace to run to, and I think that to me is the linchpin to it. And you can look and see Junior had his choice between Ragtime and Beauty Reigns, and he took Ragtime. So I think that's kind of the last straw for me. So Ragtime is my pick to win. Look Forward is a horse I've always liked. Has been a little unlucky out of the gate coming east, but this one is very versatile. Has been effective at routes as well as sprints. Is now turning back to a distance that she likes, and at 8-1, I think you're getting a square price, and should be just off the leaders. And I'm looking for a big effort. I think Look Forward stands a pretty good chance, and we'll definitely going to use in all of our exotics. Echo Sound is the 9-5 favorite, and to me, what the issue is more than anything, and I'm sure a lot of you who follow my channel know, I don't like taking horses off a career high effort that was that big, especially in a 4 horse field. I don't think those races really tell us, with small fields, really tell us a whole lot about a horse. Now, this one has clearly been solid without a doubt, and can win this race. But when you consider the presence of me and Molly McGee and running that big a race last time, pretty much unencumbered, I think the odds are against Echo Sound repeating that. So I will definitely be betting against. Certainly a horse you can use, and I would use. And, I just can't see her, but especially since she hasn't run that 7 furlongs yet. That's kind of the other thing that I'm looking at. So we're going to bet against Echo Sound, but we will certainly use. Kilwin to me is extremely interesting. This is a horse that I liked at 2 years old on the turf. And what do you know? They moved this horse to dirt in the first start and bang, ran a career high speed figure. Turf to dirt is always a great angle, but this one really surprised me. Hey, she may be better on dirt than she is on turf, and I thought she was pretty good on turf. So we're going to throw Kilwin in the mix at 6-1. You're getting a square price, and there's definitely going to be pace to run to. Stranger things have happened. If you're looking for a horse that really kind of outside the box, I think Kilwin fits the bill. So we'll add into the exotics. Not sure about a win candidate, but we really like Ragtime. I think it is the most viable win candidate here in the test. So now we come to the featured race and the anchor of the Whitney Late Pick 5. And of course, it's the Whitney, a grade 1, 11th race on the card, running a mile and an eighth for 4-year-olds and up. And what a dynamite field. All the major players in the handicap division or older horse division are there. You couldn't ask for a more competitive field if you tried. Now, we're going to throw out the obvious ones. Mama's Gold, and contrary thinking, is having no chance whatsoever in this race. Mama's Gold is likely going to will serve as perhaps the horse to point to that they can all sit off of. I wouldn't be surprised if Skippy Longstocking went to the lead. We know that grade 1s aren't necessarily his thing, particularly in this field. I'd say he's a bit overmatched, so they may just send him. We'll see. Maybe try to set things up for White Barrio. They are both trained by Safi Joseph, but I don't like him. So we'll talk about the horses that I have thought about. Now, in looking at this field, once I got through it, I had to make a choice about, do I want White Barrio or Mindframe? And Mindframe I'm going to leave off, and it may surprise you that I do. But here's the thinking. I really haven't been wowed by any of his races, any of the 3 he's won. He's won them all. He's won them at 3 different distances. He's certainly a good horse. I mean, that's, academic. I mean, that's there's no need to even say it. I mean, he's a really solid horse. And I believe he's capable of running a race to win this. He would have to have a career best effort, but I've never been a big fan of this horse. His 3-year-old year just drove me crazy with the maturity issues. And this year, I mean, he seems to have licked them to a degree, but I don't see him blowing fields away. And, to me, it's kind of more like he's doing enough to win sort of thing. Well, that's fine until you get into a race like this, where you're going to have to really jack it up and run your best. And it's just a little thing, and let's face it, you have to start splitting hairs when you have a field like this. And at 5-2, I'm just not willing to trust him. He can win this race. I'm not going to say he can't, but I got to go with the more seasoned ones who have shown me a little more professionalism, and that may seem a little harsh, but that's the way I see Mindframe. So I went with White Barrio. I think there's a little something off the fastball at 6 years old. His last couple haven't been stellar. He obviously doesn't like it when it's wet, so if it does rain, I would probably toss him and maybe throw in Mindframe instead. But he's following the same pattern he did when he won the Whitney in such impressive fashion a couple years ago. Now, this is a much better field, without a doubt. And, and he seems to, all systems seem to be go. I just think there's a little something off the fastball at 6 years old. He hasn't run any real stellar races this year, I don't think. And so, but he is a pro, and I think he can be counted on to run as well as he can. I don't think it's going to be good enough to win, but I think he can run a race that can get him into the money. And 4 to 1, I think, is very square, and I think that's a more appealing price than for Mind Dream. So there it is. We're using White Barrio. Fierceness has everything the way he wants it here. He's in an outside post. He should be able to get away unencumbered. He gets out of the gate fine, and he's going to get exactly where he wants to. And then it's a question of whether he's good enough, and obviously he's good enough. So if you want to use Fierceness to win in this race, I could not blame you in the slightest. He loves Saratoga. There's really no knock on him, in my opinion, at all. I'm going to tell you why I'm going to, if we have to split hairs, I'm going to go with Sierra Leone instead of Fierceness. I'll get to that in a second. But Fierceness, obviously, a prime win candidate and my second choice, and not by very much. Throw a Disarm in there, not as a horse who can win this race, and we will not use him in this sequence. But he's at 15 to 1, and Steve Asmussen's barn is on fire right now. He's winning at 43%. You got Jose Ortiz. This horse has had a series of steady works, and he's firing fresh. He's run well at Saratoga before, and he'll be unencumbered. He's not going to be up amongst the leaders, I don't think, and so he'll make a run. And it's not going to be good enough, but I think he can get into the money when perhaps some of the other horses are backing up. So at 15 to 1, you definitely need value to buttress your exotics here. So I'll go with Disarm just for underneath, and that's what the asterisk means. I'm taking Sierra Leone, and here's why. If you go back and watch the Breeders' Cup Classic last year, yes, he had everything in his favor, and yes, it was a white-hot pace, and he was a closer. But here's the thing about that race. Go back and watch it again. He moved early. And that I love to see closers, particularly when they go from 3 to 4, when they start getting engaged into a race sooner. Now, you're seeing it this year with Sovereignty. He was a closer in the Derby, put him into Belmont, more forwardly placed, won the race. Jim Dandy, more forwardly placed, won the race. He's getting it. Sierra Leone, maybe not getting it quite as fast, but he was able to make an early move and break the race open in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Comes out this year. First race in New Orleans, nothing to write home about. There was no pace in that race, and he needed a race. I was heavy on Touch Upon a Star. I knew Sierra Leone would not be ready to win that race, and he didn't. Comes back into Stephen Foster, and I didn't expect him to win that one either, because I know Chad Brown, and he was pointing for the Whitney. He's a Saratoga guy, wants to win the Whitney. But the thing about the Foster that I really liked was Sierra Leone made an early move and got more engaged in the race. And that, to me, is a harbinger of what I think you're going to see in the Whitney. I think he's going to be more engaged in the race earlier, and he has the potential to break this one wide open if, with moderate fractions, everybody's just sort of jockeying, getting ready to get into position at the top of the tournament. Sierra Leone's already flying around down the stretch. And that's what I envision, and that's what I think he's going to do. And so I'm going to go with Sierra Leone to win the Whitney. Post time, you have to love this horse. He's 18 for 18 in the money. He brings it every single time. It doesn't matter where he is. We've tried to bet against him or not include him because of class issues. It doesn't matter. He's always in the trifecta. So we're going to count on that again, and with the asterisk for 12 to 1, not a win candidate, but post time we will absolutely use in the exotics. So Sierra Leone to win the Whitney. So let's take a look at our ticket. So here's what our ticket looks like. This is not an easy sequence, particularly in the first three races, and really you could go all the way down the ticket. So the idea here is, you can throw a bunch of money and try to nail this one, and try to cover every option, which you can't. So the idea I've got is I'm just going to go with a streamlined ticket, keep it real simple, go for it, and if we make it, great. If we don't, we're out. The main reason is that 7th race. the first leg is just I mean, it's a real head scratcher. There's so many horses who could win that race. You drive yourself crazy trying to include as many as possible to hit it. So the idea for me is if we can just get off to a good start and get the seventh race, and the eighth isn't easy either, nor the ninth, nor the 10th. They're all tough. So we're just going to plant our flag and hope for the best. So in leg one, race 7, we're going to go with 8, 9, 11, 13. Leg 2, race 8, we're going to go with 3, 7, and 8. Leg 3, race 9, we're going to go with 5, 7, and 9. And I think we might get an upset in that one. Hot as hell. It certainly looks formidable, but there's a test score and world beater. I think are dangerous as well, and we hope for a little bit of value here. Leg 4, the test, race 10. We're going to single Ragtime. I really like that horse. Bill Mott knows what to do with a good horse, and she looks primed and ready to win this one. So we're going to go just single Ragtime, and that's it. Same thing in the Whitney. We're going to single Sierra Leone. I could go crazy. Why do I want to include a bunch of short prices on my ticket just so I can say I hit the pick 5? I'm going to go for it, and if we don't hit, we're only out $36 because we're going to double single at the end of it. So we hopefully we can. These are races they're all tough, and it's to me you can go crazy trying to be as comprehensive as you can, but you're going to spend way too much money. And if the chalk comes in, it's not going to return a lot either. I would almost even consider just a real skinny ticket, 8, 8, 7, 1, 5, and do that heavy, and then maybe spread with some others. That's what I'll probably do. And so if we do get a chalky ticket, we'll hit multiple times. So, but I'll leave that up to you. I hope our analysis helps you with your own wagering strategy. I wish you the best of luck as always. And certainly if you do like content like this, please like and subscribe. We'll continue on throughout Saratoga with our daily stakes plays. And we will also cover the more significant races as they occur. We've got the Arlington Million coming up pretty soon. So we definitely will be on top of that. And we're going to try to get some Del Mar in as well. Don't want to ignore the turf by the surf. Plenty more content coming from Right at the Wire. I will be at Saratoga this weekend, and as I always say, if you do see me, I'm pretty easy to spot. Just come by and say hello. I'd love to share a cocktail with you or have a cigar, talk horse racing, whatever you'd like to do. Always nice to see people from the community. So that's it from here. I'll talk to you soon, and until then, be well.